Honorable Jesus B. Mofnes, Vice Speaker Jesus B. Mofnes Memorial Building, Senate Chamber, and I now call this Judiciary, Government, and Law Committee to order. We are also live on our YouTube channel, and at this time, I would like to recognize our LA to take roll.
Senator Selena Arbavalta, Senator Ronnie M. Cabo,
Present.
Senator Manny Gregory T. Castro,
Estiga.
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz,
Here.
Senator Karina L. Magofnia, Senator Donald M. Maglonia.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, 4 members are present.
With 4 members present, we have the quorum to proceed with today's committee meeting. And with that, before we proceed, I'd like to recognize the staff assisting the committee. We have our legal counsel, Joe Bermudez, our senior legislative assistant, Jolyn Duenas-Tagabo, our Sergeant at Arms, Ben Terlahi, our Youth Congress Coordinator, LJ Castro, and our IT manager, Jonathan Diaz. And we now move down to the next item on the agenda, adoption of agenda. At this time, I recognize Senator Calvo.
Thank you, Chairman. I motion to amend the agenda on old business to switch the title, Senate Bill 2405 and 2406, just the description title, a bill for an act, to switch that.
Thank you, Senator Calvo. Is there a second? All right, any objections to the motion? If not, motion carries. This will still leave the order of 2405 and 2406, but 2405 will now be the Fire Reserve Corps bill, and then 2406 will be the Department of Corrections bill. With that, I would now like to open the floor for public comments. Please limit your comments to no more than 5 minutes. Please state your name and the entity you may be representing. And also, if you have any copies of your statements, please provide those copies to our Sergeant at Arms for a record. Thank you. What was that? Is it public comment for any bill? Yes, any bill on the agenda.
Good morning to you, members of the Senate, distinguished guests, and the people of the Sinamay who are tuning in. My name is Chris John Rios de Leon Guerrero. I am a police officer too with the Sinamay Department of Public Safety and a veteran of over 10 years in law enforcement. Currently, I am the elected president of the first ever established Sinamay Law Enforcement Union, the Sinamay Order of Professional Policing, otherwise known as Sinamay OPP. I am here before you today not to speak on behalf of the department, but to spread awareness on the poor and often degrading working conditions of the officers currently employed on the DPS. The reason I am here today is to be the voice, to be the vessel for those who remain silent in fear of the reprimands, the retaliation, and the ongoing intimidation that still exists in this modern day and age. I am here today to address the current dilemma within my chosen profession. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an exodus of law enforcement officers within the department whom are leaving in search of greener pastures, which often involves their families being uprooted from their homes in the hopes of a better future and opportunities that the mainland U.S. has to offer. I ask you now, why has it come to this? Why? Ladies and gentlemen, we, the Sinamay OPP, along with our brothers and sisters under the Northern Marianas Islands Professional Firefighter Union, wholeheartedly support the passage of this monumental labor bill before you, designated as House Bill 24-15. The passage of this bill ensures that our employers and those in management, along with the lower ranking, are able to come to the table and negotiate better terms for the working officers' future. The passage of the bill ensures that we are able to advocate and negotiate the proper support needed, which includes the proper equipment necessary to safeguard the life and property of the people of this beloved Commonwealth. House Bill 24-15 also sets the foundation, ensuring that the future officers will have the means necessary to negotiate the change needed to meet the demands of the future that is yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, law enforcement to me is not, as with many, isn't just a job but a career. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. Every call that we respond to is a call for help, a call for assistance, and a call for saving. Oftentimes when we respond, we see the worst in humanity. We see and deal with the atrocities that one being can perform on another. We give every call our best and treat every person we interact with the utmost respect that they so rightfully deserve. So why are we not portrayed the same? Oftentimes we respond to harmful chemicals which are considered to be fatal, but we still show up. We still roll out, because if not us, then who? Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you today to endorse and support the passage of House Bill 24-15 so that we, the sons and daughters of this Commonwealth, will no longer have to make the hard decisions between putting food on the table or having to purchase the necessary equipment which are costly, needed to perform our duty safely and efficiently. Ladies and gentlemen, passage of this monumental bill will immediately raise the morale within the profession, because it will show the officers' voices are heard. So again, I ask you to consider the good that this bill has to offer, and I pray for your consideration and approval as you, the members of the Senate, deliberate amongst yourselves on its validity and necessity. Thank you. Salamat po. Giliso. Kansamida. God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ilongaro. Floor is still open.
This. Good morning. Senator Donald M. Manglonia, Chairman of Judiciary, Government and Law. Senator Ronnie M. Cavo, Senator Francisco Q. Cruz, and Senator Manny T. Castro. My name is Paul Sasamoto, the President of the Northern Marinas Professional Union, Local 5235. Today, as officer and agents of the only organized labor union within the Commonwealth of the Northern Marinas Island, the Sinai government, the Northern Marinas Professional Firefighters Unions, and IAFF Local 5235, and the Sinai Order of Police, Professional Policing, OPP, has joined forces and combined our efforts to strongly support and advocate for the swift passage of the Sinai House Bill number 24-15 to establish a public sector employee and public sector employer relationship and true organized labor within the Commonwealth and for the other purposes. Both our organization represents key and emergency essentials. Employees who are firefighters from the Sinai Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, such as DFEMS, known as DFEMS, and the Commonwealth Ports Authority, Aircraft and Rescue Firefighting, known as ARF, and police officer from the Sinai Department of Public Safety, DPS, and other law enforcement agency who are vital to the safety, security, health, and well-being of all citizens within the Commonwealth. Our founding fathers of the Sinai realized that these fundamental rights when they passed the Minimum Wage and Hourly Act, which became Public Law 1-20 in 1979. An essential gave Sinai government employees the right of collective bargaining protected that states, "Nothing shall interfere with, impede, or in any way diminish the right of employees to bargain collectively through representative of their own choosing." As simple, significant as it was, our founding father had not realized that a time will come when, in 46 years, that history in the man-making is about to unfold, where employees proudly come together in a unified voice to represent themselves on a matter of employer-employee relationship pertaining to salaries, wages, hours, and terms and conditions of employment. We truly appreciate the Sinamay House of Representatives for realizing the importance of this matter and passed the bill unanimously back in May in 2025, but more importantly provided some specificity on how this process works, where all Sinamay government employees and benefits from and practice a true form of democracy. This bill is intended to work with management in addressing specific labor and employee relations to improve the workforce based on industrial standards, ensuring better quality of life for all employees. The collective bargaining agreement will also address requirements needs to provide resources such as training and equipment to support their specific mission. It will ensure a fair and competitive merit process and promotion that only the most qualified individual will be chosen without fear of political interference or the influential factors. It will always allow an employee to have proper representative when faced with disciplinary action and cannot afford a due process. Some only ask for job protection and security for treatment and benefits. We ask the support of the Sinamay Senate and the committee as the whole to pass this bill and send it expeditiously to the Governor, David M. Apatang, for his signature into law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sasamoto.
Good morning, buenos dias, Hafte and Tiro, Chairman Senator Maglonia, Senator Castro, Senator Cruz, and Senator Calvo. Thank you for giving me this distinct pleasure and honor with my brothers behind me to stand before you today to give our comments about this beautiful bill. Thank you. Collective bargaining is not a privilege. It's a lifeline. I don't know how you guys see it when you guys saw it the first time it hit your desk, but this is how I see it right now. Behind me are proud brothers and sisters in the first responder service, regardless of police or fire. Right now, collective bargaining is not just a right for me. It's not a right for every man standing behind me and every person watching this video on YouTube right now. It is a lifeline. The beautiful thing about this process of collective bargaining, it gives us a seat at the table to ensure that at least the people at the top, management, at least hears our cries, hears our pleas, hears exactly what we're begging or at least need to do our job safely, effectively, and efficiently. I cannot put a cost on safety. No one should be able to put a cost on my life or any single person that's behind me that serves with this badge or serves our people of the Commonwealth. There should be no cost line put on top of us. With collective bargaining, the least it could do is that the employers can hear what we need from them. There's no delays. There's nothing said behind closed doors, nothing promised. It's a contractual agreement and obligation between both sides to negotiate. And it's not one side. Employers will not dictate it completely. Union members will not dictate completely. Instead of looking at us as an obstacle, look at us as partners. We need people from management at the top to look down and listen to what we need. And that is why we need this bill to pass. I've sat before you maybe once or twice, and I've already listed my bulletproof concerns of what we're dealing with in our departments. Today, all I ask is to at least consider this process. I know that all you senators support organized labor. I know that you support our right to organize together, whether it's union or an organized labor team. I know. I've talked to each one of you, and you showed that you care about us. Now, how this bill is going to get sliced, it's up to you guys. We made it really cut, paste, and simple. It outlines exactly how the collective bargaining process is. There's no gray area in that bill for how this collective bargaining process is. At the end of the day, we're still employees of the organization we serve. I bleed orange, red, and blue. I bleed for the Commonwealth Ports Authority. I bleed for aircraft rescue and firefighting. It's my home. ARF is my second home. These guys are my second family, as well as every law enforcement out there. I want what's best for my department, but I want what's best for my guys. I want what's best for the people putting themselves out there in the front lines. All we ask is to be heard without repercussions, without retaliation, without political movement or whatever you call it. We all know this exists here. We just want to ensure that there is a law in place that gives us that possibility. There is no hidden agenda here, senators. That's a pretty short bill when you look at it. We respect the process. We respect our management. We respect the departments we serve. All we're asking is to please give us a voice and chance to be heard. That's all. And with collective bargaining, we can hold that to that person, to that union organization, or to that management. I've gone through 3 executive directors in the 8 years I'm at aircraft rescue firefighting. And believe me, you all know that managements have different priorities when they come in. At least with this bare minimum, I'll just give an example for ARP. At least this could give me a washer and dryer where I don't have to bring my PPE contaminated products home and clean it there. At least with this, I can guarantee that my men have the minimum safety equipment they need by NFPA standards. At least with this, I have a chance to voice that concern. Will I be guaranteed it? It depends on our talk with our management, but at least this makes it concrete for me and everyone else behind me to have a voice at the table and be able to address their concerns. Now, what management does after that, that's on them. They're going to live with it. At least I did my best. At least our captain, our chiefs, all the way down to the firefighter ones or police officer ones can say that they did their best. I stress, collective bargaining is not a privilege. It's a lifeline. Strong unions do lead to safer communities if you view us as partners. If you view us as obstacles, we're never going to get past what we have now. Also, attached to this is also the letters that we did from the 23rd CNMI legislature of all of you guys that we all talked about how collective bargaining agreement works. We talked about what our union stand for. At that time, it was just one, the firefighters union. Today, I have the police union standing behind me. I don't know how many other unions are going to stop by after this, but we all had a one-on-one conversation with you all, and you guys were all great at listening. You guys were all great at addressing your concerns. We've addressed those concerns already. So thank you. I'll be attaching this survey letter that we did in the 23rd legislature with my copies and the copies of my other brothers and sisters who couldn't be here today for public comments as well. But again, thank you so much for at least hearing me out today. Suzus Maasi Galisal. I hope you guys all have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you just state your name for the record?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Hafide Tiro, my name is Edward S. De La Cruz Jr. I am a Commonwealth Ports Authority aircraft rescue firefighter and serve right now as a fire lieutenant. So sorry.
Thank you, Mr. De La Cruz. Floor is still open. If there's no one else, I will now close the public comment portion of the agenda, and we'll move on to. If there are no objections from the members, we'll go ahead and proceed to new business and come back to old business after we address House Bill 24-15. There being none at this time, I I move down to item 6, new business. We have House Bill 24-15 entitled to establish public sector employee and public sector employer relations through organized labor within the Commonwealth and for other purposes. Discussion from the members. Anything from the members? At this time, I'd like to, at the very least, offer an amendment or several amendments. But all of the amendments revolve around just the fiscal responsibility. And so at this time, I move to include an amendment to Section 1, Findings and Purpose, to add a paragraph. The legislature finds that the collective bargaining must be implemented in a manner that protects the fiscal health of the Commonwealth. Negotiations affecting wages and benefits shall not exceed available revenues or create unfunded mandates on any government entity. Section 2, under definitions. Under definitions, include a definition on fiscal impact statement, which means a written analysis prepared by the Secretary of Finance or the Office of Management and Budget, estimating the cost of any proposed collective bargaining agreement for at least 3 fiscal years. And then under the scope of collective bargaining, to include a subsection, negotiations over wages, monetary benefits, step increases, differential pay, leave cash out formulas, or any other economic item shall be limited to the funding levels appropriated by the legislature and to available revenues as certified by the Secretary of Finance. And then under that subsection, no collective bargaining agreement may obligate the Commonwealth or any government entity to expend funds not already appropriated or to commit to future appropriations. And then the next subsection right after that would be, in the event projected revenue shortfalls occur, the employer may reopen negotiations on economic items to ensure continued compliance with Commonwealth budget law. And then under collective bargaining procedures, add an amendment that before any tentative agreement is signed, the employer shall obtain from the Secretary of Finance or OMB a fiscal impact statement evaluating the cost of the proposed agreement for the next 3 fiscal years, including salary changes, benefits, overtime implications, and any long-term liabilities. Under the section on approval of collective bargaining agreements, insert an amendment that a collective bargaining agreement requiring public expenditure shall not take effect unless the legislature appropriates the necessary funds. Any economic item not funded by law is null and void. And then the next subsection following that would be the governor shall not approve any agreement unless accompanied by a fiscal impact statement confirming that projected costs fall within current revenue forecasts and statutory spending limits. Under the section on implementation and enforcement, add a new subsection. No government entity may enter into or enforce any agreement that creates an unfunded mandate or obligates expenditures exceeding appropriations. Violations shall be reported to the Office of the Public Auditor. Under the section on role of the Public Employee Relations Board, add a section. The board shall ensure that all submitted agreements, including fiscal impact statements, that the board shall reject any agreement that exceeds appropriated funds or violates revenue-based limitations. And under rulemaking, add a section, the Secretary of Finance and OMB shall adopt rules establishing standard methods for preparing fiscal impact statements and certifying available funds during labor negotiations. So move. Copies will be provided. There was a motion that was made and was seconded. Any discussions? I recognize Senator Castro.
Thank you, Chairman, for your amendment, but I also like to thank the individuals that came in to provide public comment. Normally, given all the federal laws and CNMI laws that have passed, there really should be no need for a union. But given all the situations over the years of mismanagement and not performing to best practices in terms of supporting our government employees, a lot of the times issues take years to resolve. So given all these challenges, this is where a union comes in handy. Aside from the union, I do, in speaking to the members here today from the community, there's also an importance of making sure the units, whether it's fire, DOC, or public safety, DPS, the police, are accredited by industry. What does that mean? That means that officers are able to lateral transfer if needed. It means that their credential, their experience is going to be recognized. So whether the union takes this initiative and starts performing, following, getting accredited to offer those types of trainings to ensure. So the union is one route. NMC, Northern Marianas College, is another route, and then the department itself. To this date, that doesn't exist, which is why you have, when officers decide to move off island, their experience at the Department of Public Safety cannot get them gainfully employed at other law enforcements in the United States, of which most of them are accredited by industry. So, um, in looking at this issue, the best way is also for either the college, Department of Public Safety, or any law enforcement agency, or the union itself once fully established, to look at establishing those types of trainings that are like recognized by the specific industry that they represent. Chairman, I yield, and I wanted to thank everyone for their service, including our longtime veteran law enforcement officer, Senator Cruz. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Any other member? Recognize Senator Coble.
Thank you, Chairman. And in note, thank you, Senator Manny. I thank the gentleman. I know I've seen quite a few faces in the community. I commend your unwavering and unconditional support for our Commonwealth, through typhoons, through, I'm not sure the years of service, as far as the concerns and everything, but you are the voice. One thing I've noticed that, the outreach to educate the community, in regards to our frontliners and what they do go through on a daily basis, and the supports they need, and the voices that, from home to the work environment, the work conditions. This is a bill that is a legal safeguard. So you have that voice. You have that voice without suppression and no action. So, I look forward. Thank you again for, I didn't get a chance to review the prior testimonies, but the overview of the bill, the refinement from, our Chairman Donald in regards to refining some of the necessary portions of it to amend, and we review it as a committee. This is serious business because we want to ensure that, the work environment is safe and orderly, as well as, you come to work with a smile on your face, although you guys are facing adversity, and, just like our veterans and, Senator Cruz, or all those in any type of frontline service, post-traumatic stress disorder. I have a veteran father that went through that. I had no idea for so many years until it was declared. So there's so many things that are internal that we, as people that are not in your shoes, have to give sympathy and respect in regards to the service you do provide, and to ensure that performance-based compensation and whatever the union is that you guys are representing, and the voices that matter, because you are the backbone. It's not the admin or management team. You guys are the rugged downline and running through the operations and everything. So with that voice, it speaks loud and clear. So I thank Chris, if I just share the first name, Chris, Paul, and Edward, for your guys' presentation and, moving this forward so we can get this bill on its way to where it needs to be. So respectfully, I thank you for your service. All those in the, all the, public safety, and, in keeping our community safe and protected. Thank you so much as we go over this bill, with high order, and I look forward to supporting it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Further? Any further comments from the members? Before we proceed, I'd like to amend my motion earlier, and instead of introducing the amendments that I've outlined, at this time I move that we substitute House Bill 24-15 with the detailed amendments that will be included in the substitute, in which I've gone over earlier. And so with that, I move to introduce a substitute. All right, there was a motion that was made and was seconded. Further discussions? Just lastly, the substitute will be basically the amendments that I've stated earlier, and part of those amendments include just the financial and fiscal aspect of the bill that was not clearly outlined. This just ensures that there is funding available whenever there's an agreement that is being struck between the entities, to ensure that, for instances such as wage increases or pay step concerns, I think those would need to be addressed in terms of funding availability, and so that the amendments simply provide those safeguards, so that we don't hold the government hostage. The final substitute, if voted on by the committee, will be made available before our Senate session, where we're going to adopt the bill. But at this time, based on the substitute, if there's nothing else from the members, I recognize LA to take roll.
Senator Cabo,
Yes.
Senator Castro,
I'm done.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, all 4 members present voted yes.
With all 4 members voting yes, House Bill 24-15 SS1 the substitute is hereby adopted. I would like to ask the LA to prepare the committee report as well as the substitute for the members. So that we can act on that on our next Senate session. That takes care of House Bill 24-15. Since we have our law enforcement here, at the request of the author, I'd like to move back to old business, item 2. Any objections? There being none, we have Senate Bill number 24-06 to establish a fire reserve corps to assist the Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services and the Commonwealth Ports Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting in fire prevention and suppression, rescue operations, basic and advanced life support, and for other purposes. Floor is open for any discussions. Recognize Senator Castro.
Thank you, Chairman. We attempted to have this pass actually during my term in the House. It did receive support from several community organizations, and I believe it also received support from the fire union as well. This is a good opportunity to save costs and improve outcomes, and it's also a way to get more people into the career fields of the programs that we are looking to establish a fire reserve corps for both CPA and defense. Thank you, Chairman. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Any other comments from the members? If there's none, I'm open to entertain any motion. All right, there was a motion to adopt Senate Bill 24-06. Sorry, 24-05. And it has been seconded.
Second.
Further discussion? At this time, I recognize the LA to take roll.
Senator Cabo,
Yes.
Senator Questru,
I'm good.
Senator Cruz. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, all four members present voted yes.
With all four members present voting yes, Senate Bill 24-05 is hereby adopted. And at this time, may I ask the LA to prepare the committee report for our next session. At this time, we'll take a short recess. Rise back into our committee meeting. Right now, up for discussion, we have Senate Bill 24-0, 24-06 to authorize CNMI Department of Corrections to pay inmates and establish work programs. At this time, we're going to table the bill until we get further clarification from the Commissioner of the Department of Corrections. Any objections from the members? If none, we move down to item 3, authorize Senate Bill 2424 to authorize the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands join the CNMI Guam Interjurisdictional Corrections Compact to improve and expand inmate rehabilitation and training, and for other purposes. Any comments from the members? If there's none, I will open the floor for any motion. Twenty-four. All right. All right. There was a motion that was made and was seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor of adopting Senate Bill 2424, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 2424 is hereby adopted. Out of committee, and I would like to ask that the LA prepare the committee report. Moving down to item 6, new business. We have House Bill 24-26 to amend the crime of child abuse. Any comments from the members? No further comment at this time. DYS supports this bill, in which this bill will help with their operations. And having heard from DYS during our fiscal affairs meeting the challenges that they face, I think this would further their mission in protecting and safeguarding our youth here in the CNMI. And so with that, I have no further amendments that I would like to add. Neither does any of the members. And so at this time, I welcome any motion. Senator Cruz, recognized. No comments from DYS, but I believe this bill is a result of the work that the author had done with DYS. Comments were submitted to DPS and the AG, but we did not hear back from those entities. So there was a motion by Senator Calvo to adopt. Can I get a second? And it was seconded. Further discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Senate House Bill 2426 is hereby adopted. And I ask that the LA prepare the committee report for full Senate action. Moving down to House Bill 2435 to amend certain provisions of the CNMI Good Samaritan Act, 7 CMC, Section 2801, et sec, and for other purposes. Further discussion. There being none, I open the floor for any motion. All right, there was a motion to adopt House Bill 2435 and was seconded. Further discussion? Again, just for the public benefit, I think this is just mainly to include provisions on opioid overdose reversal medication. There being no further discussion, all in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-35 is hereby adopted. And with that, I ask the LA to prepare the necessary committee report. Moving down to House Bill number 24-39, which is to establish treatment program enforcement officers within the judiciary to carry out enforcement, supervision, and monitoring functions essential to the success of court-supervised treatment programs, and to ensure that these officers are fully recognized as law enforcement personnel under Commonwealth law. Comments were submitted by the judiciary when this bill was in the House, and it looks like these matters were addressed. However, the committee would like to table this for further discussion. If there's no objections, this bill will be tabled for further review. There being none, we move down to House Bill number 24-44 to amend 9 CMC Section 8209 by removing the 7-day grace period for motorists who violate 9 CMC subsections 8203 and 8204, with the citation effective immediately and for other purposes. Discussion from the members. There was a motion that was made by Senator Cruz and was seconded for the adoption of House Bill 24-44. Further discussion. Essentially, this bill removes the 7-day grace period that if motorists were to be put over and they don't have their insurance with them, they currently have 7 days to provide the court with proof that their vehicle is insured at the time of the citation was given, and that this would change the citation. However, the bill proposes to remove that, and that any motorists who are pulled over at the time and are not carrying their insurance with them will automatically be given their citation and the resulting fees. With there being no more discussions on the bill, all in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-44 is hereby adopted, and I ask that the LA prepare the necessary committee report for full Senate action. Moving on to item 6, Senate Bill 24-38 to rename the DPS Boating Safety Building to the Jose Camacho Sablon Boating Safety Station in recognition of his contributions and dedication to ensuring the safety of the public in the surrounding waters of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Discussion from the members.
Chairman, motion to adopt the committee report to approve Senate Bill 24-38.
There was a motion for the adoption of Senate Bill 24-38 by Senator Cusher and was seconded by Senator Cruz. Any further discussion? Ready? All those in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-38 is hereby adopted, and I ask that the LA prepare the committee report for the full Senate body for action. Up next, we have Senate Bill 24-40 to amend 9 CMC Section 3114 by requiring the Department of Public Safety's rules and regulations regarding commercial vehicles be consistent with those of the United States Department of Transportation's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and for other purposes. Discussion from the members. Essentially, this bill aligns our commercial vehicle regs with that of the Federal Department of Transportation. Any discussion from the members? All right, there was a motion that was made by Senator Cruz and was seconded by Senator Castro. Discussion on the motion? There being none, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-40 is hereby adopted and passed in its original form, and I ask that the LA prepare the committee report for full Senate action. Up next, we have Senate Bill number 24-41 to establish a child abuse and neglect central registry in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. Discussion from the members. Members, this is a bill that I authored in collaboration with DYS. It basically allows for DYS to establish a registry, and that would make the process easier for those needing certification and clearance that are sometimes required by federal programs or the employer. And so this would ease the process of DYS being able to issue and obtain and keep records of any individuals who are needing the clearance. Further discussion on the bill? Recognize Senator Caldwell. All right, there was a motion that was made by Senator Caldwell and seconded by Senator Cruz. Further discussion on the motion? There being none, all in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-41 is hereby adopted. And I ask that the LA prepare the necessary reports for full Senate action. Next on the agenda, we have Senate Bill 2445 to rename the Guma Justicia Igual Awe House of Justice building to the Elias Parong Sablan Guma Justicia Igual Awe House of Justice in recognition of its long-standing contribution for the people of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. This time, we will table the bill to get the author's comments in regards to recommendations made by the Judiciary. Any objections to tabling Senate Bill 2445? There being none, we move down to Senate Bill 24-47 to require all contractors to be licensed in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands and for other purposes. Discussion from the members. Any objection? 2447.
I'd like to give a motion to adopt Senate Bill 24-47.
All right. There was a motion made by Senator Custer and was seconded by Senator Cruz. Further discussion on the motion? There being none, all in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 2447 is hereby adopted, and I ask that the LA prepare the committee report for full Senate action. That takes care of the item 6 of the agenda, new business. We now move down to item 7, announcements. Anything from the members? There being none, we move on to item 8, adjournment. Can I get a motion? There was a motion that was made and was seconded for the adjournment of today's committee meeting. Any objections to the motion? There being none, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. This meeting is hereby adjourned at 11:26 a.m.